Not every conversation needs to be loud. Not every disagreement needs to become hostile. And not every man is interested in spectacle. The society of ordinary gentlemen exists for those who believe that courtesy still matters, that restraint is a strength, and that how one conducts himself, especially when it is inconvenient, is a measure of character. This is not a platform for self-promotion. It is a place for thoughtful discussion, mutual respect, and personal accountability. The Society of Ordinary Gentlemen is an online community with the mission of cultivating modern gentlemen by teaching skills, habits, and mindsets that elevate personal style, communication, health, and lifestyle through community, courses, and mentorship. Membership is open to adults willing to uphold these standards.
Welcome to another episode of the Gentleman's Forum. I am your host, Anthony Buntyn, and today we have back with us in the studio Chad Smith, who was on a while back, and we had such a great time. And I thought it'd be a great opportunity to have Chad come back today, because also this is a great time to announce that Chad has been appointed as Director of International Affairs with the Society of Ordinary Gentlemen. So Chad, congratulations. It's great to have you back into the studio today.
Thank you very much, and I look forward to the opportunity of being International Man of Mystery.
That is awesome. So Chad, last time we talked a little bit about you a little bit, and so for some of those that are watching or listening and missed that first podcast, could you tell them a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. Chad Smith. I'm 51 years old. I did 26 years in the Australian Navy. I left the Navy in 2019, and I've been working as a contractor for a private company doing contract work back to defence. I got married in 2011, sorry. My first child was 2014. Got married in 2011 to my wife, who's in the Air Force, in the Australian Air Force. I got 2 children, 2 dogs, I think about 18 fish, a bird, a cat, pretty much a menagerie and a little zoo going on over here. And it's Friday here, so I don't have a suit and tie on today because it's what I call Fun Fit Friday, where I try out different outfits and different clothing. And yeah, it's me in a nutshell. I've lived in Australia my whole life. I've been lucky in the Navy to travel around the world and see many cultures and countries. So it's been great.
That's fascinating, because that brings into what I want to talk to you today, because you brought up some interesting aspects of your life and being in the military and also being a family man. So having said that, we met through another community, and then we started corresponding, and then I invited you over to the Society of Ordinary Gentlemen. And I've always been so impressed because the way you carry yourself, your demeanor and your style and everything. Now, the reason why I bring this up is because there are some men that have this conception that because you're married now and because you have a family, that you basically don't have to take care of yourself. You don't have to care about yourself. And to me, it's just the opposite. I know for me, I want to represent my family. I want my family to be proud of me. And I see this happening so often and I'm sure you've seen it too, where you see a lady going down the road and she has on like a nice sundress or a nice dress, and she's walking with a guy that has on khaki shorts and flip-flops and a hoodie or something.
And you're like, tank top.
Yeah. And you're like, what's wrong with this picture? So my question to you is, as a family man, how do you correlate being a gentleman and being your head of your household and a family man?
Yeah, so I've got 2 girls, so I like to show them what they can, not what they can expect, but they don't have to accept the people that wear those shorts and stuff. My 8-year-old daughter, she likes to help me pick my clothes out. So she's learning how to pick the right color to go with the right thing. And it's funny because my wife even goes out to my daughters and will ask if that looks right. And then they'll say, go and talk to dad. Because for some reason, I've always been able to pick the right colors and stuff. I wouldn't call myself the head of my household. It's a shared household where I am. It's because both my wife and I work. We've both been in the military, and we both had, I wouldn't say a strict upbringing, but a strong upbringing, and we'd like to impart that to our daughters as well. Probably being that we're both military, our daughters probably get a little bit more strictness than some families would get, as you would know, growing up in a military family.
Yes.
But yeah, I want to be able to. You never know who's going to be watching too. Like I go down the road and I run into politicians and stuff. Not that I know them, but they don't dress all that well, and it sets that perception in your head. Well, why are they looking after our country, or why are they looking after our city if they can't even look after themselves as such?
Sure.
And then you get the ones that do dress up or that do dress nicely, and you think, this guy's doing the right thing. He can look after what I'm doing. He can look after himself. And again, in myself, you never know who's judging or looking at you. You don't think people judge you, or you don't believe everyone's going to judge you, but it's just an intrinsic thing. Like, I remember when I was in the Navy, I had my big bushy beard and I'd wear a beanie, like a little winter cap, and a hoodie and stuff, and people would cross the road because of how I looked. So they made that snap judgment, and you know from who I am that that's nothing like what it would have been like at all. Now that I wear a suit, people walk past and say hi and that sort of stuff. So it's just a snap judgment, people, and it's a safety thing. It's an intrinsic savior. I've got to get out of the way of that person who doesn't look like they're going to be nice or anything. So I need to move out of the way as a survival mechanism.
And you're so right in what you're saying, because I know for myself, and this show about being a gentleman is not about race or color or anything, or religion or anything like that. But I mean, the reality of it, as you stated a few minutes ago, of being judged, when I had that didn't care attitude, and I was like, I throw on some cargo pants, and I had a lot of camouflage pants from the military and stuff, and even working tactical, doing law enforcement work. And so I guess you would say, one of my day-to-day go-to was a black t-shirt and khaki pants or camouflage pants. When I'm out walking and people will see me, they see this big black man in a tactical like outfit. And like you said, they would cross the street, or they wouldn't want to make eye contact with you. And so in your mind, you're thinking, what's their problem? I'm not that type of person. But the reality is that's how we are perceiving ourselves. And even though that's not our intentions, yes, we all want that safe haven of saying that people shouldn't judge you. But what I know, within 10 seconds, somebody looking at you, they've already formed an opinion about you. Whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, they've already pointed and afforded that judgment on you. So, yeah, it does make a huge difference. And I think this also goes to, as you being a man, and when I said head of the household, you're like me. Yes, I'm the man of the house, but me and my wife share on the decisions and stuff. But when I said head of the household, I use that in a term because you have children, as I had children. And so you want to raise your kids in what to expect from a man. So that's why I referred about being the head of the household, because you want your children to be with somebody that's going to have those morals and those characters of a good man. And like you said, not settle for less.
I can categorically say I am the man of the house.
But to lead by example and being the man of the house, you want, especially because I know you have 2 daughters, I have a daughter. I was so concerned about how my daughter was going to fare when it comes to relationships. I wanted to make sure that she was going to be looking for a real man, a real gentleman, and not settle for that person that me and you both look at and go, what's his deal? And so I was the same way. I wanted my daughter to know what a real man is and what to expect. And unfortunately, there are families that are single parent families, might be just a mother, or they might have a father, but he's not active or he's not representing. And so these kids, I mean, for example, you have a man that's married and he's abusive towards his wife. He treats her like property, not like a equal. So these little girls in that family are being raised to think, well, that's the best that it gets. That's what I'm expected to be. That's what I'm expected to.
Even the inactive father who just sits there and does nothing, just watches TV or goes out and doesn't spend time with the family.
Exactly. And so they think that's what a man's supposed to be like. So you're correct in your assessment of that. And so how do you make this work on, because I love reading your posts, because I see that you're very active in your kids' lives, walking them to school and school functions and things. How do you function all this, especially being a man that's gainfully employed?
Yeah, so I'm lucky at the moment where I work from home a fair bit in between contracts. So when I do that, I work as a contractor, so it depends on what I'm doing and who I'm working for, whether I'm working in an office or at home. So if I work from home, school's only like about 800 meters or half a mile or something up the road from where we live. So I walk my daughter to school every day. About another 200 meters past that's the coffee shop. So today's Friday here, so I've got my coffee. My daughter and I, every Friday, we'll leave a little bit earlier and we'll go get a coffee, and she'll have her hot chocolate So that's that time that we spend, and she looks forward to that, and she'll get ready quicker on a Friday just so she can make sure we do that. Because I'll say, if we don't leave by 8 o'clock, you don't get the hot chocolate today. So she'll make sure she gets ready and we're out the door on time. Also, my older daughter, so she works, she's in high school this year. So I have an office just in town. So every Thursday, she needs to finish school later because she does the extracurricular activities, and the bus stops running by the time she finishes. So it's closer to my office for me to pick her up after school, and we'll drive to school on the Thursday and she'll tell me about what's going on at school or what's happening and that sort of stuff. So it's something that I probably never did myself as a kid with my parents, but you don't think about it till you get in there and realize how that little tiny thing, just listening to them or talking with them about what they're doing for the day or what their favourite thing is. I don't get told anything about boyfriends and that sort of stuff. I found out from my wife when my daughter went to her first concert, she gave her phone number to 3 different boys. The funny thing about that was she gave them her old phone number because she forgot she had a new phone number.
You trained her well.
Because she was wondering why no one had called her.
You trained her well.
Yeah.
If you're not sure, give her an old number.
That's it. Just give him my number. Yes. She's only 12, so I'm not looking forward to 15 and 16. I'll tell you that much.
Sure. That it's great that you take that time, whether it's walking your daughter to school or driving your other daughter to school and picking her up after school, to engage and find out what's going on in their lives. I just did a podcast last week on Do You Know Your Children? And it was geared around the controversies that's been going on with young people getting in trouble. We here in the United States, there was one young man that went out on a party boat with some friends and came up missing, and they found him a couple of days later dead. And then there was one where a young man was on a track team and went into the tent and got in an argument with another high school kid and stabbed him with a knife. And these parents are like acting like they're oblivious to what's going on in their kid's life. I just saw today where there was a high school shooter from a couple of years ago, a teenager that shot up a school. He just got life without parole, and his dad got 15 years because he gave his son a rifle for Christmas, knowing that his son was unstable, and he acted like he didn't know. So yes, I admire the fact that you take this time and you cherish those moments. Like you said, it might only be a 30-minute between walking from home to the coffee shop and to the school, or it might be a 20-minute drive to drop your daughter off and then a 20-minute drive picking her up. But you're taking those precious time to engage with your daughters and to learn about them, to find out what's going on in their lives. But at the same time, you're a working man, you have a family, and you're balancing all this stuff. How do you make that work?
Difficult sometimes. It's a bit, I think because I'm lucky with my background in defense. Like my first question to everything, or my first thought to myself is this going to kill somebody? Because that's sort of that thing that gets drummed in you. Can I do this? Is it going to kill somebody? If it's going to kill somebody, I should probably stop. But most of the things I do once I got out of the Navy, it's not going to kill people. So you can slow down and take that time and have that breath. It doesn't have to get done straight away. I mean, I still get frustrated as hell at my girls and that sort of stuff. And I still tell them off and that sort of thing. And I probably snap when I shouldn't snap sometimes because I get tired. I have bad days at work and that sort of stuff. So the way I feel, I've got to stop and think about why I'm snapping or why I'm getting upset at the girls sometimes. But to answer the question, it's just taking time and I mean, I want to be involved in my kids' lives and that sort of stuff. I want them to be able to, if something goes wrong at a party, call me and know that I will come and get them. Whilst I might tell them off, I'd rather them call me than not call me and go off somewhere else and not get away from that situation they need to get away from. And it's just building that relationship. And yeah, I feel really lucky because my youngest daughter, I think, likes hanging out with me. My oldest daughter is getting to that point where she's going, I don't know if I should hang out with dad so much. I might go talk to mum a bit more. And that's probably, and I was told that from the start too, like when they're very, very young, they're all about mum. And that's all kids because they're all about mum's the survival mechanism. As they get older and they get away from mum, it's like, oh, I love dad. And then it goes back towards mum again. And then depends on how you've had that relationship. Once they get to a certain age, where that relationship then evolves. I mean, one day I was changing their nappies and I was wiping their bottoms. One day they're going to have to do that to me or put me in a home. So it's better to get to know them now than later.
But at the same time, like you said, that cycle of them going to mom for survival, and then later on in life, they want to hang out with dad because dad's cool and dad knows things. And then when they get to that certain age, that teenage years, they go back to mom because they're becoming young women and dad's not going to understand, but mom does. But the reality is that time period in between that you have is where you are informative and you are imparting into them those qualities of what a gentleman is. And you're laying that foundation. So even when they get to where they start leaning back towards mom, but they know that if a situation arises, they know that, hey, I need to go to dad. Mom knows about the lady things, but I got this situation and dad knows about this. And
Yeah.
that's great because you laid that foundation during that time, and it's important for them to understand that. And I love the fact that you want to get involved in your children's lives. And I'm the same. I was the same way with my daughter. I used to tell my daughter all the time, if you don't tell me what's going on, I can't help you.
Or if you don't
I
tell me
might
what's
get
going on, I start making things up or putting things together, and that's probably the wrong idea.
right. And like I tell her, yeah, I might be upset about something, but I'm gonna be even more upset if something happens you don't tell me because I can't fix it or I can't help you through that if you don't tell me what's going on. And like I tell her, I
Exactly.
was like, you're always I said, if you come to me and tell me what's going on, I might be upset about it, but you're gonna get in more even worse trouble if you don't tell me what's going on and then something happens. Like
Promise
my
you that I won't get upset, but I can promise you I will help you.
Right. And I learned that because my daughter she was very slick when she wanted to, because I made a statement to her. I said, as long as you tell me, as long as you're honest, you tell me the truth, you won't be in trouble. But if you lie to me, there's gonna be problems. So my daughter came to me one day, she said, you told me if I'm honest, then I won't get in trouble. And in my mind, I'm thinking, yeah, that's what I told you. And she said, okay. She said, well, I didn't do my homework. And she started walking off. I'm like, hold up. Get back here. You
There
know
are
exactly what I meant.
consequences to actions.
Yeah. But we, as men and as fathers, we need to be engaged. We need to know what our kids are doing, you know, who they're hanging out with, what they're doing. Like you said, your daughter has some after school activities. And so you're there to pick her up, but you're also, because I know you're also at the same time checking to see what is she involved in? What is she doing? And there's too many parents that are not doing that. They're not getting involved in their children's lives. They're not trying to find out what's going on in their lives and stuff. And then when something tragic happens, all of a sudden, well, I didn't know. Well, you didn't want to know.
Yeah.
You weren't trying to get involved. So I love that fact that as a man and a married man with a family and stuff, that you're getting involved in your children's lives and stuff. And I mean, even now, you've accepted the role of the director of international affairs for the Society of Ordinary Gentlemen. And here you are sometimes like on Sundays when we have our live lounge meeting here in the United States, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. But for you, it's Monday morning at 5 a.m. and
Yeah.
you're up before your family's up, and you're in the live lounge engaging and talking to men, which I think is great because when I know you can be around family and you can be around kids, but there's nothing like being around other gentlemen where you can talk
Yeah.
things and relate on a gentleman level.
That's right. And it's someone to bounce ideas off and someone to talk through some situations and that if you need to as well.
Exactly. Because I mean, let's be real. Your children, they don't know. They can't give you advice. And yes, that's your wife, but there's things that you deal with as a man that you want the opinion of another man and not your wife. Not saying that your wife is invalid. It's just that there's
No,
certain things
no.
that we could talk about that we understand the same way like your wife. She'll go to her friends or her sisters or siblings to talk about things because we're not going to understand these things because we see things in a
Wired
different
differently.
light. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. We see things in a different light. So, like I said, the mere fact that you're up at 5 in the morning, Monday morning, while your family's still asleep, because a lot of times we'll be talking, and then you'll sit there and say, "Oh, the family's just starting to wake up."
Yeah,
But
yeah.
you make that time to be engaged with other men, but at the same time, you still have a family. So when we get done with our meetings, you're already up and you're ready to help get your daughters ready for school, get your wife
Up,
out the
wide
door.
awake, three coffees in.
Yeah. And that's what I love about it, because here we are Sunday afternoons in the live lounge, and you're like, gentlemen, hold on one second. I'm gonna go get some coffee. But I love how you make all this work. Now you're the director of international affairs for the society to add on to your other duties as an employee and as a family man. And but yet you all make this work. And if you were to talk to a young man or a man that's starting this journey, what type of advice would you give him about having a family and balancing things out?
You have to make time for yourself as well. You can't just do things for everybody. You need your own time. You need to, whether you want to call it decompress or whether you want to call it just relax and stuff, you need things for you. So that live lounge stuff is something that I get to do for me because I get to get up and talk to you guys and, as I said, bounce ideas and learn bits and pieces about what we're doing. I've started doing Taekwondo, but that's also time to spend with my 8-year-old because she wanted to do that. And then to do that, because she's so young, you have to have a parent with them. And it costs the same whether I do it by myself or we do it together, or even if my wife and my other daughter want to come and join. So we do that, and then we come home and we're doing Taekwondo around the house, which is, again, it's time for us and it's relaxing and she's having fun. And my wife actually enjoys that I go and do something. So having things for yourself to do it's really important. Otherwise, you're just going to become a robot and you're not going to. And that's where you just start doing those things where you turn up, do the minimum, leave, turn up, do the minimum, because it just feels like a chore. So have your own time to decompress and relax and enjoy your life. Like, you only get one life as such, so you need to be able to do what you can do to make you happy. If you're happy, then you can make people around you happy.
And I think that is so important for myself, play golf, but also you can't see it right here, but right here off to the side, I have a flight simulator and I have all the controls of like a plane. And when I get on the screen, everything's done in real time. So when I fly out of the airport here in Memphis, it's real time. So if it's raining on the screen, and all the planes are actually leaving out of the airport or coming in, I can actually see. But I love that because that's my time to get away. I can fly anywhere in the world that I want to. It's that time of decompressing, like you were saying.
Yeah, as such.
Yeah, freeing your mental mind of the things. Yes, we love our families. Our jobs can be hectic at times, but you got to have that outlet. And part of the outlet is having a place where you can go and talk to other men that are dealing with similar situations or have gone through similar situations. And that's what I love about the Society of Ordinary Gentlemen, because they have that available. They have the live lounge meetings. They have the posts where, and it's not just about clothing. It's about being gentlemen. We're talking about sports. We talk about the World Cup, or we're talking about politician news and stuff. Like, I didn't know, you had that conversation last time about voting and the difference between voting in the US and voting in Australia. And that was something that I learned, but we had that conversation. And so it's a way to relieve the stress and pressure and stuff. I think this is why so many men have problems in relationships and in families, is because they don't take that time to decompress.
Yeah, there's no outlet. You don't get to learn to talk to other people. Therefore, you don't talk at home to other people as well.
And I think, I think, yourself, even for women, when they have children and they're around the kids all the time, they look for that time when they can go talk to another adult.
Yeah.
Like you said, just so they can talk to somebody that they can relate to. They're not talking about cartoons. They're not talking about toys. They're actually having an adult conversation.
Around here, there's lots of women's groups that walk around with their kids in prams and stuff. They just need to get out of the house and do something.
Yeah. So it's very important. And I love the fact that you incorporate all this stuff. So I want to ask you, I know you said that your wife is active duty in the Australian Air Force. And so for you, how do you make that work? How do you, because I know she's working and stuff. Do you help out with the chores around the house? Do you, especially when she's on assignment or because I know, being in the military, sometimes you have these temporary duty stations and these deployments and stuff. Do you help to stand in for her and with your daughters and getting them going to school and stuff?
Yeah, well, one of my wife's first ever deployments, I think my eldest she was 2 or almost 2 when she first went away for 6 months. And I love my coffee. So we go to the coffee shop and stuff, and they do what's called a baby chino. Basically, it's just a little cup and it's got frothy milk in it. That's all it is, with a little bit of chocolate on top. And I got my daughter one of those, and I took a photo of it and sent it to my wife on deployment. And I get this message back saying, "Oh my God, what are you doing feeding our kid coffee?" It's like, not coffee. It's all right. It's just milk.
It's funny you said that, because even like here in the United States, we have Starbucks coffee, and when you go there, if you have a dog in the car, they'll give them what's called a puppuccino, and basically it's just a small cup that has whipped cream in it.
Yeah.
And so I have 3 Bijons, well actually 4 now, because we just picked up a new puppy yesterday. So can you imagine what it's like having these puppies in the back seat? All of them just licking their lips because they know what's coming. But
Yeah.
But I see that you step in and you help fill fill those gaps because your wife is on deployment or things.
What
And
annoyed my wife and I both was when people would say, "How can you do that? How are you leaving your kids with Chad and going away?" It's like, he is their father. It's not like I've got some random guy off the street and pulled him in and said, "Can you look after my kids for me?"
right, right. In a way, it's kind of, and I didn't say it the way, but it's kind of like an insult. It's like, wait, well, you're saying I can't raise my own kids? But the reality is, you're not taking that as you're any less of a man because your wife is in the Air Force and she's on deployment. What you're doing is you're stepping in the gap. You served your country. You did your time, and this is something that she wanted to do. And it's great that you're supporting her in doing so.
Well,
And
we both support it because I've deployed as well, and she's had to look after the girls by herself.
right,
She's deployed, I look after the girls by myself. I'm like, that's what our marriage is. It's working together and trying to help each other out to get the best for our family situation.
right. And that's what I was talking about, how you make it work as a family. And that's what I was referring to about head of household, is that you know what needs to be done. And so therefore you make it work. You make all the necessary adjustments so your wife can have her career, you can have your career, and you both can raise two beautiful daughters together. This is something that a lot of men, they take it as an intimidation or being
Yeah,
less of a man. And it's just the opposite. There is nothing that makes you less of a man taking care of your children. It's just the opposite. It makes you more of a man because you're being responsible and you're
that's
being
right.
engaged in their lives. So many men have this misconception, and it boils down to how they were brought up. They're brought up that you're a man. That's not your responsibility to feed your kids or take them to school. Or no, you want to know what your kids are doing. You want to be involved. That some of the best conversations I had with my daughter and learning about her was at the kitchen table because she's eating and I just start asking her a question and she just starts rattling off probably some things that she didn't want to tell me, but she felt so comfortable that she just started
Yeah,
rattling off.
her guard's down. She's helping dad.
Yeah, and you're right. Those are some of the best times. I'll be out there cutting the grass and she wanted to come out and help out, or I'm working on the car and she wanted to watch. Those daddy-daughter moments, they are precious, but they're also very important as to, knowing what's going on in your children's lives.
Yeah, my wife's taken photos of me when I'm pushing the lawnmower, and when my youngest was young, she's in between my legs pushing the lawnmower with me. There's other photos where I'm working when I used to race push bikes. I'm working on my bike, and then my other daughter come out and wanted to work on her bike, so we put her bike up on the stand, and she starts working on her bike.
Not only are those impressionable moments, but they're also teaching moments.
Mm,
And you're teaching your daughter how to take care of things that she has, how to take care of her bike. Those are teachable moments. So and these are things that I feel that so many people pass up, not just the men, but women too, are those teachable moments that we can spend with our family. I love the fact that you spend equal amount of time with your work as you do with your family. I love because I see your post that like on Saturday, you and your daughter, you take your daughters out to go do some activities and stuff. And also at the same time, you're also giving your wife a break too.
yeah,
She has her career and then she comes home and she's mother and she's taking care of her daughters and she's taking care of you as well. And
mm,
so as a man, you're like, hey, let me give you some time for yourself. Because the other morning, me and you were talking, and I was asking about your weight equipment behind you, and you're like, "Oh, that's mainly my wife. She uses it every day." And you were telling me how she works out on that stuff regularly. So you're making that time for her to have that personal time. You're keeping an eye on your daughter so she can have, like you were saying earlier, she can have mental free time to herself, and that's one of her hobbies is working out. So you are ensuring that she has that time the same way that she's ensuring that you have your time. And
yeah. Even
that's
just
what
picking up
makes
the groceries, the girls will come with me.
yeah. So that's what makes a relationship work is that you respect each other and you make things work. And I want to ask you because you do so much, but you always look dapper, you always look stylish.
Thank you.
How do you get yourself prepared for the next day and even on the weekends? I mean, even on the weekend you're out with your kids, you're going out in style. How do you take time to prepare?
So that little bit, just the night before, pretty much. I said it's that whole getting ready and being prepared so I can get up in the morning and I don't have to think while I'm trying to wake up and I haven't had my first coffee. I've got like a little stand where I will prepare the outfit the night before. And sometimes that's what I mean. My youngest or eldest daughter will come in and help me pick the clothes out and we'll get it ready the night before. Get the shoes, get the clothes, the shirt or whatever. And then it's ready. It's good to go. And then I don't have to think. And again, it's that little bit of time where I spend with the girls and we do something together. and they learn color coordination and color wheels and all that sort of fun stuff. It's just, preparation is the biggest thing, making sure that you're ready before you need to be ready. So, like, while I'm sitting here in a short sleeve shirt, I've got my jacket sitting at the front door. Next to my jacket is my overcoat. So if I go outside, it's cold, I can grab both of them on the way out the door. So it's there. It's not like I've got to go looking for it when I get up to go somewhere. It's always just having that, just being ready, just preparing. Again, sounds like I'm a Boy Scout now. Be prepared. Make sure you have things in a payphone.
But is this also because I know you, as myself, grew up with parents in the military, and then you went to the military. So is this also part of your upbringing and your training from the military of preparing the night before?
Probably more of my training from the military, because I know that being part of the military brat pack, I used to try and buck the system as much as I could, because who wants to do what I'm told? You won't tell me what to do. And then you realize that maybe I should do that.
You were a derelict like I was when it came to.
Oh, yeah. I feel like the stricter your parents are, the more you try and like push back on it.
Right. So your training and some of your upbringing is what got you into preparing ahead of time. And I think for me, like we were talking a second ago, I was rebellious during that military brat stage. And then when I got out, I wanted to find my own self and kind of rebelled about everything that my parents taught me. But when I started this journey, that's one of the foundations that I went back to, was the way I was raised, and then also what I learned from the military. From the military, you had to prepare for the mission or whatever task the day before. So I noticed the other day you posted about your new double monk shoes, and you just got them. But what was the first thing you did? You took them and you had them polished.
Yeah. Got them all. I did all the polishing myself. I got a rubber sole put on so I didn't slip over all over the place.
Right.
But then I brought them home and I started putting the leather conditioner in them and started cleaning them up and put the nice mirror toe on it, because I want to be able to wear them. I don't want to have to clean them before I wear them. I want to be able to just pick them up and put them on.
Right. But there again, you were.
Hang on, here.
Sure.
See, they're just here. They're on the table, and I'm going to clean them up again.
Right. But what you did was you were intentional in getting those shoes prepared. Yeah, you could have just took them out of the box and put them on and start wearing them, but you wanted that polished look and that high shine, and so you took the time to work on them, and that's not an easy task. And so many men, most men don't even shine their shoes. They walk and wear shoes, and their idea is that if they see some mud on it, they use the back of their pants leg to knock the dirt off.
Yeah.
But as gentlemen, we take that time. On Saturdays, usually Saturday evenings, I grab all my shoes and I grab my shoe shining kit, and I sit there for a couple hours, and I'll put on a movie and I'll sit there.
Yeah.
And I do all my shoes and getting ready for the week. And
it also makes you probably do it longer than you normally would too, and you end up with a better shine because you're not thinking about it whilst you're watching your movie.
Right. Or catching a game on a football game or something. But the thing is, what most men don't understand is it's not just a matter of them looking good, but every time you polish those shoes, you are extending the life of those shoes.
The more you care for your clothing, the longer you'll get from it.
You're putting that protective covering on those shoes. Just like I never did it at first. Now, I always thought it was silly, but I saw my dad do it all the time. He had a steamer, and he would steam his suits and get them ready for the next day. And I was like, I'm not doing all that crap. I'm not doing it. But once I started this journey, and I remember my dad steaming his clothes, so I was like, well, there had to be something. And then when I started looking at, not only was I paying a fortune in dry cleaning, but every time I took them to the dry cleaners, it was breaking down material. So, well, maybe what my dad did has some merit to it. And so I bought a steamer and started steaming my clothes, and I really started getting into it. I bought a cheap one. It was a off-brand Walmart one. So what I did was, when I really started getting into it, I bought a more expensive one, and that cheaper one I gave to my grandson, and I started teaching him how to see. Now my grandson's 14 years old, and he steams his clothes. If he's gonna wear chinos the next day or even a pair of jeans, that's the first thing he does. He's like, because he has to get permission, because I want to make sure, because it's a steamer. He said, Papa, can I steam my clothes? So I know that's what he's doing. And I took the time and taught him how to steam his pants, how to steam his shirt, his polo shirts or his button-down shirts. And I taught him that. And so that's all part of the preparation. So that's one thing he does after dinner. He takes his shower, and first thing out of his mouth is, what I did was, I had him, I'm doing what you do with your daughters. I started teaching them about color coordinating. So what he'll do is after dinner and after he takes his shower, he'll go and he'll pick out his clothes and he'll bring them to me. And he'll say, "What about this?" It was a challenge at first. This kid needs remedial, color correction. But once he started getting a hang of it, it became less and less. I was like, "Yeah, that looks good, but why don't you try the light blue shirt with these pants?" And so
Yeah.
he started learning. He started learning how to do these things, and it's teaching him how to do it. And you're doing the same thing with your daughters, even to the point now they're helping you pick your clothes out.
Yeah, well, so I don't know if you can. Today I didn't have this belt on, so I've got this shirt and these, and then there are green pants, like a light green pant and a creamy sort of coloured top. And my daughter says to me, "Dad, they look too much like pajamas. Maybe you should put a belt on to break it up a bit."
That was a good eye though. That was an excellent
Yeah.
eye that she recognized that to the point where she's like, you need to break up that contrast.
Yeah.
I mean, that's awesome.
At that point, my head goes, tick.
And when I look at your postings, and I see where you say my daughter picked this out, I'm like, wow, she's gonna be a fashion diva. She's really
Some
gotten
guy's
good
going to
at
be
it.
in trouble.
Well, I mean, because she's gonna be like, wait a minute, you're going out with wearing that with me? She's like, I don't think so.
Yeah, if you need to change that shirt, it's a bit too
These are the
contrasty.
things that I wanted to bring out with these men about how they present themselves, and
I think we
even
broke up a
dealing
little
with
bit.
families, how as a family member you bring all this together, being a employee, being a husband, being a father, and now a director of international affairs for the society. You're bringing all this stuff together and you make it work. And I think that's great, and I think it's important. There are a lot of men out there that are wondering how to do this stuff. And as you know, we always on the podcast we talk about the Society of Ordinary Gentlemen and why it's important for members to or for men to join. So can you spend a couple minutes and give some of these people that are watching and listening your take on what it means to be a part of the member of the Society of Ordinary Gentlemen and why you think it's important?
Yeah, sure, I can. I can go back as far as when I discharged from defence. I had no idea what to be like out of a defence and in the normal world. I'd done 26 years in the Navy. I didn't even know how to go to the doctors and realise I had to stop at the doctor and pay them because I was so used to just walking out from the medical doctor. So I had to find myself. During finding myself, I'd started realising that people dress a certain way, probably have more of a leg in the door or foot in the door. So I had to learn what outfits and how to wear and how to dress a bit differently. And that was through that other one that we had. But coming into the Society of Ordinary Gentlemen, you then start talking with people who've had those careers and had that path and are able to assist you and tell you a little intricacies or little things that you might have missed along the way. It also gives you, like I said, you and I, we can talk and we bounce ideas off each other and we learn how well, we don't learn, but we get ideas on how to look after ourselves and how to be more involved in our families. And it's just having that like-minded group or the group that wants to do, a group of men that want to do the same sort of thing and help each other. We're not there to belittle anyone. If you come in and you've got a certain jacket and tie on, we'll say that's a good tie. That looks, maybe have you thought about a different knot, or have you thought about a different color, or have you thought about putting it this particular way? And it's just little things to help you out and take you that little bit further in life and in the next step in your journey.
Right. And I think, Chad, that you hit the nail on the head. The society is not about demeaning people and pointing a negative thing, but it's there to encourage people. And like you said, in the society, we don't put people down. We'll say, hey, I love that color on you. Have you gotten that? Maybe adding a blue shirt to that? Or like you said, there is a different tie knot that might really bring out the color of that jacket. That pocket square, putting a pocket square in there will really, and it's not there to belittle anybody or put anybody there. But like you said, it's to bounce off ideas off of people and to share things. And I've learned so much from seeing your postings and stuff, and it's like sometimes I get kind of mad at you because I get a little jealous. I'm like, how do you come up with that? But it's encouraging, and I think that if you want to be, and I'm not trying to knock other communities out there, but the Society of Ordinary Gentlemen is about living the life of a gentleman, not just in style, but how we carry ourselves, how we handle different situations, being a father, being a married man, having family, careers. And me and you, we talked about changing careers. We talked about how that transition works and how it looks. Because there are some men watching or listening today that are getting ready to get in transition out of the military into civilian life, or some that have already transitioned, but they're having a difficult time. And we talked about that in the last podcast, and you'd be surprised the response I got from so many men that caught that podcast. That's why I wanted to bring you on today so we can expound a little bit further more into the civilian world of being married and having a family and what that looks like and how you deal with that. And you have such a unique situation because you retired from the military, but your wife is still active duty in the Australian Air Force, and yet you transitioned to a civilian career and you still have a family, and yet you make all this work and you bring all this around, and you are such an inspiration and encouragement. And so I
Thank you.
wanted you to come on today and encourage these men. And like I said, please, those that are watching and listening, I'm not trying to discourage or take away from any other community, but the Society of Ordinary Gentlemen is so much different because these are men that live the life of the gentleman. They're not just Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. These are men that are living as gentlemen 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year after year. If you want to understand and you want to know what it's like to be a gentleman, I'll tell you, this is the place to come. I'm not saying that you can't learn from other places, but I'm saying is add this to your cachet of
Repertoire.
yeah, of knowledge, because I've learned so much from the gentlemen that are here in the society that have questions that I had and things that I was kind of embarrassed about asking or not sure about and didn't want to look stupid. But these guys, these gentlemen are so well knowledge and they're so ready to offer assistance, not to put you down, but to help you. They want to see you succeed, and so to
The
be
only
able to,
stupid question is the one you don't ask.
right. And Chad, you know yourself, when we have these live lounge meetings and stuff, we get some good conversations about real life situation, real things that are going
Mm-hmm.
on. Last night here, it was like right at midnight. I think for you it was like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. But
Yeah, it was a
our
normal time for me for a change.
yeah, our board members were up in the middle of the night and in the middle of the afternoon. Chad, you're in Australia. We had Clinton, he's in Africa. We have members, other board members in the United States. And here we are in the middle of the day, in the middle of the night, we are coming together to discuss how we can improve the society. And none of us are getting paid for this. This is all a volunteer. Nobody's asking,
Huh.
nobody's getting paid for it. But here we are, we're spending time in the middle of the night or in the middle of the day discussing how we can better assist other men. That's what the society is all about. I encourage you gentlemen that are watching and listening, if you want to learn how to be a gentleman, you want to grow and further yourself as being a gentleman, the Society of Ordinary Gentlemen is the best place to get started on your journey or to continue your journey or to even to advance your journey. Be around positive men that are doing positive things with their life. I mean, we got men from all over the world. We got men from different cultures, different backgrounds, different education levels and stuff. And they're all here with
Egypt,
the same
Japan,
purpose.
Ghana, UK, South Africa, Netherlands, Australia, USA,
Yeah. And
everywhere.
and and they're all here for one purpose, and that is to encourage one another and to help one another on this journey. And I encourage you, if you're watching, if you're listening, get involved in society. We're broadcasting on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Amazon Music. You can go to YouTube and watch the live videos of these. You can go to Deezer. You go to the website of the society, and it's right here, www.beagentleman.org, or you can go to YouTube and you can put in the search and type in Side of Ordinary Gentleman, or you can go on the internet, go to school right here, skool.com. And when you go on there, hit the search, type in the Society of Ordinary Gentlemen, it'll take you to a link. Now, they're going to ask you a couple questions, and these questions, we're not a cult, we're not a police type of community. These questions are to ensure that those that are coming in are men that really want to learn about these gentlemen.
You're
We try to
not a
weed
bot,
out. What's that, Chad?
and you're not a bot. Like otherwise, everything would just come in.
Yeah, and we've been fortunate. We've been able to avert a lot of bots getting into the society or people that want to get on it just to promote their businesses. So these questions are to help filter out people that are coming here for ulterior motives. But once you answer those questions, you get in, I'm telling you, you will not be disappointed. We talk about all kinds of things. We talk about style. We talk about clothing. We talk about fragrances. That's how I learned about Carolina Best. right here, www.carolinabest.com. It is a wholesale designer fragrance company. I lived in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I came across them once. And when I got into society and I started learning about different fragrances, and I wanted to learn more, when I heard everybody talk about Creed Aventus and Creed Viking. And so I went to the mall and I smelled these things and I was like, man, these are great. Then I looked at the price tag, $350, $400. And I was like, I can't afford this. But I did remember about Carolina Best, and I went on there. I went on the website. I put in to see if they had it. They had it. 8 milliliter bottle was $10. And I'm not talking about cologne. I'm not talking about you spray it on, it lasts for 1 or 2 hours. These are like Eau de Parfum. They last anywhere from 8 to 12 hours, and mostly oils. They last all day. It was $10 a bottle, and I was able to try it. Now I have so many different colognes of name brand that I'm paying $10 a bottle for, and it's right here at www.carolinabest.com. They are one of our sponsors for the society, and this is where I learned this stuff. We also have a magazine, the Society of Ordinary Gentlemen magazine. If you go to our website right here, www.beagentleman.org, at the top you'll see it'll say Gentlemen's Forum Podcast, where you can catch all these podcasts. Right next to it, it has the Society of Ordinary Gentlemen magazine. And I'm telling you, check out that magazine. It's online, it's free. There's a lot of great stories in there. There's a lot of advertisements in there, and it'll help you get on your journey. And I want to thank Chad for being here today. Chad, it's always a pleasure talking to you. Congratulations on your appointment to the Director of Internal Affairs for the Society. I look forward to doing more podcasts with you. You've helped me in so many ways. I know you help other men. I'm looking forward to seeing what you're going to do with the international side of the society.
Thank you very much, Anthony. And everyone should remember, men can have feelings too. You don't have to hide those feelings. You're allowed to have.
Chad, you just said a volume of advice. That right there tied into this whole program, and it just spoke volumes. And you're right. It's okay to have feelings. You know what? And sometimes it's okay not to be okay. Just because we're men don't mean that we have to be tough and we don't have to have feelings and we don't have to have bad days. It's okay to not be okay sometimes. But if you want some encouragement and you want some help, this is the place to come at the Gentlemen's Forum podcast and the Society of Ordinary Gentlemen. And I want to thank all you guys for tuning in today and listening to us. Chad, look forward to seeing more posts of what you got going on and your appointment to the society. And gentlemen, I challenge you to be the best versions of yourself that you can be, and to join us next time on the Gentlemen's Forum podcast. And you guys have a blessed day. Chad, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.